You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
This is the Daniel Monday Night Community Show on demand through YouTube. Thank you very much for choosing to listen to us through this method. If you'd like to keep up to date with when I add new interviews, then subscribe to this channel. We're going to be talking all about books. Firstly, thank you very much for joining us. I was hoping that you could firstly introduce yourself.
Of course. My name's Lauren. Thanks for having me on, Daniel. And I am an absolute book lover. I've always been into books since I was a wee little girl. Always absolutely loved reading, and recently I've just taken it upon myself really to make it a bit more than a hobby. I've started a booktube channel and I run a few book clubs, and was hoping to get into running a book club on the radio station.
So could you tell us more about the book club that you run?
Yeah, of course. I run two book clubs currently. One that I run at my place of work there's 14 of us in total. We all sit around, we meet once a month, one of us makes cake, and we sit and discuss the book that we've decided to read the month before, and all sit and have a little chat. And that's how that one works. That's been going for about 3 years now, so that's really successful. Everyone really enjoys that. And then my second one, which has only been running for 4 months, is an online book club, which I started over Facebook with some friends. We decided, I thought, I've seen online book clubs run through Twitter and things like that, and a few people who knew that I run the book club at work said, I'd love to join a book club, and we sort of decided that we'd give it a go over Facebook. So every month we meet in a Facebook message and discuss the book that we put forward the month before. So far it's going really well. We're in the 4th month of that now, and a really good response, so really, really enjoying that.
And we're going to talk all about a little book club on the radio.
So, my vision is that I suggest a book today that we could all get together, have a little read of it over the month, and then in a month's time I would come back on the radio and I could have a chat with the people that have read it, and we'll see what everybody thought. So the way I thought it could work is that I would give out my email address, which is laurenandthebooks@gmail.com, and after everyone's read the book, you could email me and just let me know what you thought. So the book I've decided to go for is a book which is quite popular at the moment. It's called The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. It's very accessible. I picked it up myself in Tesco's today, so I know they've got it in there, and it's on the Kindle, and you can just order it online and everything. And I'm just going to read the blurb. I don't normally like doing this. I normally like to hear what somebody else thought of the book or their take on it, but as I haven't read this book, I thought I would just go for it. So here we go. Every day the same. Rachel catches the same commuter train every morning. She knows it will wait at the same signal each time, overlooking a row of back gardens. She's even started to feel like she knows the people who live in one of the houses. Jess and Jason, she calls them. Their life, as she sees it, is perfect. If only Rachel could be that happy. Until today. And then she sees something shocking. It's only a minute until the train moves on, but it's enough. Now everything's changed. Now Rachel has a chance to become a part of the lives she's only watched from afar. Now they'll see she's much more than just the girl on the train. So, it sounds very gripping to me, and the people that I've spoken to have also said it's very gripping. So I'm hoping that in a month's time, if everyone gets a chance to read it, then they can send me their emails, again, to the email address laurenandthebooks@gmail.com, and we can have a good chat about that in a month's time.
Well, it's going to be interesting to do. It'll be interesting to see what you think after reading it as well.
Certainly. And are you going to give it a go, Daniel? Are you going to try and read it?
Yeah, I'll give it a go and see what it's like.
Yeah, good.
We're next going to talk a little bit about how people read books, which I suppose has changed quite a way in recent times.
It certainly has. When I first started my book club, which was 3 years ago, my book club at work, everybody was just sort of getting into Kindles. And I was a bit sceptical. I thought, no, I don't know if I'd like that. I've always loved a book. I love the feel of a book. I've always used libraries since I was a little girl. So when Kindles first started coming about, I wasn't keen. But having got one myself now, my parents bought me one for Christmas a few years ago, I can see the merits of them. I do think they're a good idea, and I absolutely fly through books on Kindles. I don't know if it's something to do with not having to turn pages, but I seem to really, really read really quickly on the Kindles. And I think a lot of people feel the same. I think it's made reading a lot more accessible for people. People can be sitting at home and think, I wouldn't mind reading a book, and they don't have to go out to the shop and buy a book or down the library. You can just download a book then and there and read it. And I think that's really made reading a lot more accessible, especially for younger people as well. A lot of people I know now read books on their phones, on their iPads and things like that. So I think there's lots of ways to read, and I love all of them, really. Books are probably my favourite, but I certainly love my Kindle as well.
I was going to say, one of the things probably that attracts me to it is not being able to store lots of books, and that's what got me back into photography. I was left with all these photos stored everywhere, and the negatives. On a computer, you can take loads of photos, and it's all stored on that little hard drive, and you can have hundreds of books on a Kindle and not be stuck with them all on a bookshelf.
No, certainly. And I actually find myself lending my Kindle out to friends because I've got a book on that Kindle that they don't want to buy or don't want to get from the library, and I've got it on there, and I say, just borrow the Kindle, and I do treat it like a book, weirdly. So, yeah, it's good to have everything there stored, and you can store so much on there. I've still got things that I bought when I first got it, and there's classics on there that I'll reread again and again. So it's a great way to keep books, yeah.
I think you were going to talk all about your BookTube channel on YouTube and how that works.
Yeah, so recently I discovered something on YouTube called BookTube. So it's basically a group of people, hundreds of thousands of people, who have started vlogging, so video blogging about books, which I started watching these about 4 weeks ago, and straight away I thought, well, this is something I could do. I love talking about books. I will bore anyone senseless about books. And after watching a few videos on there, I thought I'm definitely going to give this a go. So about 3 weeks ago, I decided that every week I'd release a video about what I was planning to read that month, or a recap on what I'd read that month. I've got another video where I've done a recap on the book club books, and my most recent video I've done is about Harry Potter. And I'm just going to sort of just do a different type of video every single week, and it's been a real success. I was absolutely shocked by how many views I've had so quickly. I really thought it would take a long time to take off, but people have been so kind, and people have been saying, I've watched your video and it's really made me want to read, and it's just something I'm really enjoying. So if people wanted to check out that, it's www.youtube.com/Lauren and the Books, and you'll see me on there raving about books.
And I think we're going to move on next to talk about the sorts of genres that are popular at the moment, book-wise. So currently, I would say one of the most popular genres that's out there is the young adult sort of books. The Hunger Games would fall in that category. Books like The Fault in Our Stars, other very, very popular books with sort of teenagers going into young adults. I think you'll find that those sort of books are popular with all ages. I myself know people that love The Fault in Our Stars, a book that I mentioned earlier by John Green, people who love that are 14, up to people who love that are over 60, I would say. So I think that's a really popular genre at the moment. Another genre that's sort of kicking around is fantasy. I know it's always been very popular, but I think with things sort of like that have been released recently, the Game of Thrones, for instance, I think the genre of fantasy books have really grown recently. Another sort of, I think there's going to be like a rise in non-fiction. I think people are really keen to learn things nowadays, and I'm certainly trying to read a lot more non-fiction this year than I've ever read. I've never really read any non-fiction until this year, so that's something I'm really looking forward to getting into this year. And before you go, I was just hoping you could refresh our listeners on what that book is, and also I think there's an email address where they can contact you to perhaps find out more or talk about the book.
Yeah, certainly, Daniel. So the book that we are hoping to read in time for next month's book club is The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. So I have two ways to contact me. You can contact me via my YouTube BookTube page, which is www.youtube.com/Lauren and the Books, or you can email me at laurenandthebooks@gmail.com.
Well, I'd like to thank you very much for coming along, and we hope to see you in a month's time and look forward to it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I've had a great time. Thank you so much.